Okay, we're going to go over approaches. Project management approaches for the PMP exam. And we're going to need to know three approaches for the exam: the predictive, the adaptive, and the hybrid approach. Okay, so the predictive is the plan driven, often called waterfall approach. This is the classic project management approach, where you plan the work upfront in detail. You've got the scope, schedule, cost baselines all done at the very beginning. You have basically a full plan of what you're going to do. Okay, this is best suited for projects with well-defined requirements. Okay, so what is that? That would be something similar to a construction project. You might be building a house. Okay, we've built the house many times. We have plans for it from previous construction projects. We can sit down and estimate exactly how much it's going to cost. We can build a schedule because we know what it's going to take, how many resources we're going to need. We'll be able to plan everything in detail all the way up front. That is a predictive project, right? So the activities are completed in a distinct linear sequence, and new phases begin only when previous phases are finished. So you're moving from one part of a project to the next part of a project to the next part of a project. And so you're going from the initiation phase to the planning phase, the executing phase, and so on. There's also predictive projects can be divided up into different larger phases to where you complete. It's basically like dividing a project up into several smaller projects, right? So you might have a construction project of a building where you will build half the building or half a warehouse, but leave the other half ready to be built onto it at a later date if you grow, right? So that might be something like a phased project. So deliverables are transitioned at completion. So just like take our construction project, right? You're going to plan the project out, you're going to execute the project, and then towards the end, when you hand over the project, you are handing over the building, right? All at the end, it's being handed over. Now, we can contrast that to the adaptive project approach, right? So work evolves through short cycles or iterations. So this basically means that instead of the project being planned out in entirely at the beginning and then handed over at the end, we're doing loops, or what are called iterations, right? So we might say, here is something that will give value to the customer. It's not the entire warehouse. It might be, in this case, we might be just talking about some type of software project, right? So we're not going to deliver the entire software completed. We would be looking at a value or a piece of the project that can give value to the customer, right? And so we're going to do that, and we're going to create that, and then hand that over, and then loop back it again and create another value added piece of the project, hand that over, and we're going to keep looping through that. Okay, so the priorities are refined as feedback is received. So this type of method allows us to constantly review, constantly check, constantly adjust. It's great opportunities for the stakeholders to get to test the project, get to see examples of the project, and give feedback as it's moved forward. Also, it allows you to adjust for quickly changing environments. Like for example, your software, new value is hitting the marketplace constantly. There might be new different objects or new different functions that need to be added to this software constantly, and we just don't know what they are yet, right? So we can't read the future. So by making shorter iterations, we're only delivering smaller units, and when change does happen on the marketplace, we can quickly adjust and add function to it so that we can better add value for our customer, right? So this is best suited for projects with high uncertainty or fast changing environments, right? Um, this is often called agile, iterative, incremental, and the value is delivered incrementally through the project. As we move on in this course, we will go over this in finer detail, and you will learn a lot more about agile or adaptive project methods and approaches. Okay, hybrid, you can mix them together, right? So you might have a project that starts off predictive, and then you get to a certain point in the project where you need to be more flexible, you're uncertain about what's going to happen in the future, or you need to be able to give feedback constantly in order to adjust and deliver the best value for the customer. So you could mix the predictive and adaptive together in what we call hybrid. Okay, it's best suited for complex initiatives with both stable and evolving environments. Okay, so that would, again, that's a mixture between the two. It could be an infinite different variations of mixtures between the two. But the thing you need to just understand is that you have predictive, adaptive, and hybrid. And on the exam, it's usually the majority of the questions are going to be predictive or adaptive. I do know that they do heavily test on adaptive, and we are going to go into that finer detail further on in this course.